Hi, Nancy.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can. Everything sounds fine.
Good. And the video is good because I've been, in the past I've had some trouble. So
Great.
hope things are good.
Looks that way. May 30th. Whoa.
I know. It was so nice Memorial Day at the wharf to have the audio, the loudspeaker system.
Yeah, it it was it enhanced it a lot.
Yeah, really nice. Exactly.
Did you hear from anyone if they're coming or not, or?
No.
I just got an away message from Paula. She was out of town when I.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I asked people to let me know if they couldn't make it, and nobody indicated that. So I'm hoping we're good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Ellen Antrim texted me and said she's going to be late.
Okay.
There's a problem with my camera, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to you'll be able to see me.
Okay.
Well, we can hear you great, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
And we expect Rebecca. So I'll just do it. It's just 7 now, so.
Yeah. Give her a minute.
Can you see us, Paula?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to mute myself because I'm fiddling around with my camera. So I'll see if I can get.
So we can talk about other topics, correct?
Well, we're being recorded.
All right.
So
Well, Nancy, I walked by your house today and I saw your rose bushes, which look so sad.
Yeah, they many people's roses died and many people's butterfly plant died, both of mine in that situation because they're right exposed on the street. I have So, but there are sprouts growing out of the bottom of, I think, most of them.
The
So,
butterfly bush? or
no,
the
the rows. So I'm just
Ah.
gonna cut back the stuff it's truly dead. You can snap it off. It's so dead.
Yeah,
But, and then I'll just see what happens with it and decide, no, I'm not gonna dig it up but it's happened to a lot of people.
Hmm.
It's very sad,
those roses, and they're old, aren't they? They look like they've been,
they're very, very old, yeah.
yeah, that's what
They've
I
been
thought.
blooming steadily for, over 30 years
Yeah.
and they survived that really cold 2015 winter that we had. It looked like they weren't going to come back, but they did. So we'll see.
Hmm.
Everything's okay at your house in terms of didn't lose anything. That's great.
No, yeah, everything's fine. So with 5 members of our committee, the quorum is what?
3,
3? Ah, excellent.
more
So-
than half.
Okay. So,
That's why only 2 people can get together and talk, because
yeah.
it's less than a quorum.
All right. So it's 7:03. What do you think? Should we give the others?
Well, we have to make sure Paul is back.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I can't get my camera to work though.
Okay. Shall we begin or give them a few more minutes?
Doesn't matter to me.
Why don't we wait like till 7:05 and then
Okay.
certainly is chilly tonight.
Hmm.
The weather hasn't really felt like Memorial Day.
I think
Not a lot of people in the water.
hmm.
I went in
All
the
right.
water on Sunday.
Oh, good for you. Which beach?
So did you just wade or dunk?
I dunked and swam for a little while.
Oh, that's
Really?
great.
Very impressive.
Wasn't that bad. It was nice.
That's good. I think the coldest beach is 40 Steps,
Yep.
just because it's got all that water from the further out and stuff.
It's not as protected. Doesn't
Yeah.
have the sand.
Yeah,
Tide
it
comes in
gets deep
either.
so quickly there, right. All right, it being after 7:05, I say we should get started.
Okay.
Like to call the meeting to order and begin with a quick overview of the agenda, which you did get by email, but the second item on the agenda is approving the prior minutes. Then the update on the town meeting items and the articles particularly, and to talk about what are our next steps with those articles and those projects, the committee organization, to think some more about people to possibly join the committee. And then any new business, on my mind, under new business would be about meeting by Zoom, if we want to keep doing that, or if we'd like to meet in person. And then the net date for the next meeting, and then, of course, any other new business. Okay, so could we have a motion to approve the minutes that were distributed from our last meeting?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
All in favor?
So
Aye.
someone needs to second it.
Oh, correct. Okay, I will second it.
Okay.
Forgot that step. Is somebody joining us on their iPhone? Not quite yet, I guess. Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes? Nancy, yes.
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 Holly, yes.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Town meeting, so we had
Who's
some
ever on the
articles.
iPhone, you're muted. You might just want to let them know that. Oh,
Okay.
here they-
There I am.
Is that you,
Can you hear me
Ellen?
now? Yep, that's me.
Great.
Can
Great.
you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
All right, thanks.
Glad you could join us. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
No, we're glad you're here. We just
Yeah.
did the minutes. Did you have anything to
Nope,
say?
they look, no, they looked good. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank
I
you.
approve.
So-
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so talking about the articles that passed at town meeting, so that is very exciting. So we have the Lodge Park article, continued work at Lodge Park. So I guess to me, the question is, what are our next steps? How can we put the management plan into action? And it seems to me we maybe need to request a meeting with Tony, town administrator, to get on the same page about the next steps. And do we need to put it out to bid, and how would that happen, and when would that happen, and so on?
So there's two parts to that proposal. One is the redirecting of the trails and the safety of the trails, and that's a lot of DPW work that Zach thinks he said that he thinks he can do a bunch of that, but that also involves plants for the green,
Fencing.
fencing and boulders and all that. And then the other part is the signs. And I just don't know the amount of money that we have to go to outside bidders for. So that's something we have to clarify.
Right, with Tony.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so
I mean, I think it has to be with Tony and DPW because. Oh, great. Hi,
Sorry,
Rebecca just joined us.
back. Sorry about that.
welcome. So we're talking about the articles at town meeting and Lodge Park and what happens next. So you think we should try to have a meeting with Tony and Zach to talk about next steps, a joint meeting or two separate meetings?
I don't know, it's whatever they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for them, because I would suspect it's better to have them both at the same place so we don't have to go over stuff. So I think we should just have a meeting with both of them.
All right, so
And
I
then-
will invite Tony and Zach to meet with this committee about next steps at Lodge Park. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
because even with the signage thing, you know, there's the purchasing of the signs, there's the designing of the signs. We have to say what we want to put on them, but DPW's putting them in the ground, so they're
Yes,
involved, you know, with all of that.
right. So with regard to the content of the signs, it seems to me we could begin work on that. The proposal, the management plan for Lodge Park calls for 4 signs: a wayfinding type sign, of which there'd be 2 of those, but they'd be exactly the same, just one down by sort of the entrance near Canoe Beach, and then one when you actually get up to Lodge Park. And then 3 other signs.
I thought there was
Oh, I said 4. It's 4 other signs, right?
4 sort of
Yeah.
historical, cultural,
Yeah.
ecological.
Yes. So those particularly, well, all of those signs, we could begin to work on the content of the signs. What do we
Yep.
want the topics to be? And then the actual language for the signs, and selecting some photos to go on those signs.
Right, so that work could begin, and I guess I'd like to ask the rest of the committee what they would like, information they think would be good to be telling the public at the top of Lodge Park. It
I
was the
think-
recommendation, I'm sorry to interrupt, it was the recommendation of our Mass Audubon advisor who wrote the report that, you know, that we needed those, so.
I personally think one should, you know, be, 1 or 2 should be history, and the other 2 should be about the current, you know, ecological state of it, and what the restoration of it, and what people are seeing, and the natural habitats, something along those lines. It's kind of a loose,
Yeah,
yeah, but that's my input. Yeah.
Another thing that people were talking about was somewhere, if it seemed appropriate or fit in, to tell what they're seeing off in the distance.
Yeah, that's always fun. I think that's a good idea.
Sort of the geography of the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it
That could
yeah.
also include some like geological history that we know about, you know.
Right, yeah. And I could really go in a lot of different directions, birds and vegetation and all kinds of, and as you said, the shoreline and
Yeah.
horizon kind of stuff, yeah.
You have any thoughts, Rebecca?
No, I think that sounds great. Yeah, just kind of know what you're looking at when you're up there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think that sounds good too.
Okay, so how about if the drafters of that worked on that would maybe for our next meeting, just before then come up with some ideas, and then we could discuss them at the meeting.
Okay. Are you, is somebody already working on it, or are you?
No.
Oh, okay,
No one's, we're just
Okay.
saying, you know, it's that before we have a meeting with Tony and before our committee meets with the town administrator and the DPW, that's one thing we could be working on. And
Okay.
so, question, we can't, only 2 people can work on it at a time, is that true, Paula?
Yep,
Okay,
unless you post it as a public meeting.
which we also could do.
Mhm.
true.
Yep.
It just means, and how far ahead is that you have to post it?
48 hours.
48 hours, okay. Well, I
And you
think
have-
we can-
And do you have to have at least 3 people at the meeting from our committee to qualify it as?
Yes, yes.
meeting.
If there's 3 people from our committee, then it's a public, you have to post it as a public meeting.
But it also qualifies for a voting meeting if there's 3 people there?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, not that that's like necessarily one way or another, but just wasn't sure. Okay,
Well, I guess
Well,
it is a
maybe-
voting meeting if everybody is there. I mean, if you have a quorum.
right, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Okay,
it's a hard time to get people together, but maybe we can figure something out, because I'd really like as much input as we can on this to be all in the same page.
okay.
I'm available during the days starting, I know, because you guys do a lot during the day sometimes. I'm done with school the 14th though, if you wanted to meet. It's still 2 weeks away, but
Yeah, that's fine. That's great. You must be looking forward to that.
yeah. But also, yeah, but I'll have more free time, so.
Great.
So who else on this committee would like to work on the sign, both the subject matter and then maybe get into some of the language in the photographs as well?
I'd be happy to help.
Great.
The kind of thing I like to do, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So we also, have the Historic Society information,
Yeah.
available to us anytime. So, all right, well, let's see if we can figure that out.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that sounds good. All right, moving on from Lodge Park, I think. So that gives us 2 action items in my mind for Lodge Park. Get together, a group of us, post a meeting of the Open Space Committee and get together a group of us to work on the content subject areas for the signs at Lodge Park. So that's one item. And then the second one, I'll try to get a meeting with Zach and Tony to talk about next steps, get on the same page. What do we have to put out to bid, that kind of thing. Okay.
So Paula, your availability during the day is not, right?
No, I can't do
Okay,
anything during the day.
okay. So since that's when those people work, I guess we'd have to do that, but we'll
So
just,
feel free to go without me.
okay,
If it's a Zoom meeting in the evening, they might be available to chime in, but
okay. We'll just explore all possibilities.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, Bailey's Hill. So,
Can I just say something about the meeting?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Paula, for making the obviously important statement that, we have to, if we didn't start working on it, it would just decline to what it was before. I was just so flummoxed with the way the discussion went that I appreciated your input. So thank
No
you.
problem. I thought it was important.
Yes, absolutely.
right. Okay, Bailey's Hill. So Parterre was working on a native planting plan for the East Slope restoration, Fort Ruckman part of Bailey's Hill. They have completed that work. It is a 22-page plan. It is quite detailed, as you would guess. I've skimmed it and it looks excellent to me. It includes a base map, the planting plan with trees and shrubs, planting techniques for trees and shrubs, planting plan for all the herbaceous plants, planting techniques for plugs, the little guys, containers, and seeding. and recommended management techniques for various invasive species, and a calendar for when to do what. So 22 pages, you know, quite detailed. Miles from Parterre. So I'm happy to send that out to the committee, and I'll do that.
When, Trish, when did you get it?
About a week ago.
Okay.
Miles from Parterre offered to come and present it to us. So that's a question, I guess, if we want to invite him to our next meeting so we can hear from him in detail how they came up with these things and what they're proposing. And also if we wanted to have a meeting and invite Zach and whoever else to come to that and hear about it. That is in the contract that we signed with Parterre, that he would do a presentation, you know, come and talk to us about it.
Why don't you ask Zach and Tony about that? And in the future, before a meeting like this, if we're going to talk about something, could you send it around to us?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'll apologize about that. I meant to before Memorial Day and all that. And I actually thought I had done it. And then I looked back in that old sent, you know, folder, and I hadn't done it. So. So you're thinking we should ask Zach and Tony if they'd like to meet with Parterre and have a presentation on it and walk through it and discuss it.
So one of the things about it is how much it's going to cost and whether we have to send it out to bid.
This
You know,
is just the planting plan.
Okay, but that's correct. The
Yeah,
next
so
stage
it's-
of implementation is
Yeah,
what we need to see, yeah. See
that
how-
would come next, the implementation part. Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely think if it's in the contract and that's part of the process, that he should definitely present to us, and whether it's at the same time that we meet with Zach and Tony, or if that's a separate meeting. It's probably a separate meeting because it's about Bailey's Hill as opposed to open East Point, but I definitely think if we should take advantage of that if it's in the contract, for sure.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if it tries to bill us more, because the contract that was signed was based on hours. It was an estimate of the hours that it would take to do the job. So,
Okay. All right, well, that's a different story then.
yeah,
Let's see
we have,
if
it
Zach's
was
ready to-
in their original proposal, but they have spent more hours than what they had originally estimated. So,
Okay,
but he, in the past, he's been pretty easy to work with, so he might be flexible on that. I can certainly ask him. I will
Okay.
ask.
great.
I think it's important for efficiency's sake to maybe, even if the meeting's a little longer, for Zach and Tony to talk about all of it, all the things we have, because it's really hard to get both of them together. And I think it's important that we try to like tick off a list sort of things. And maybe they'd be interested in having Parterre, I don't know, but that's why I suggested just reaching out and finding out.
I totally agree with you, Paula. I was going to say that too. It's so hard to get these people together, and we need to discuss both Lodge Park and Bailey's Hill with them. So, you know, I think I agree.
And Tony, I was gonna bring this up in new business, but since we're talking about it, Tony stopped me at one point, I don't know where on the street, and talked about, he wants to start thinking about the Flash Road playgrounds and what we do down there, because Babe Ruth Field isn't really being utilized. Now they have money to do the pickleball courts. So I think he wanted to do some brainstorming about what happens down at Flash Road. The Flash Road playgrounds, as I call them.
I mean, digressing onto playgrounds, one of the things that there is a timeline from CPC funds that I think it's 18 months or something that you're supposed to like do stuff or send the report. I mean, that's part of the definitions when you know, all that verbiage that comes. And so I would really like to know what's happening with the Short Beach playground, because that they have a commitment to move ahead with that, and that's our worst off playground.
I can't speak, you know, 100% to that, but I know that Tony most recently said that they have the contract, but it was a timing issue. So it's not going to be, you know, it's really just when the person can come in and do it. He's met with the neighbors and they have a
Awesome.
plan. I just think the timing, it's just getting the contractor there to do the work is what's holding it up a little bit. But I
Okay,
think it's
that's-
by the fall. That's what I think the latest was.
Thank you. That's really great information to know, especially when people ask us, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely in the pipeline. It's just timing issues.
Okay,
My
thanks.
God,
I can see you. We can see your eyes and your forehead.
I don't know what happened. It's been off for a week.
Oh,
So weird.
Bizarre.
Great. Hi. Okay. So that we'll get the meeting and discuss as much stuff as we can. Do you want to talk more about the financing thing? Trish,
Financing thing.
paying for the planting plan?
Okay, let's see. So we signed a contract with Parterre to develop. Do you mean writing the planting plan or the implementation part? You're talking about writing the planting plan?
Yeah, like the cost, of it, what we owe them and that stuff.
Okay, let's see. Yes, so hold on 1 second. So they completed the plan, they sent us a bill. The total bill is, let's say, $6,000. It's actually $5,945. We did pay them as required a down payment for them to get started. The amount we paid them was $1,228. The amount now due is $4,716. So that's 4716. I communicated with the town, Allison Nieto, and asked her to pay this invoice. And she said Zach had already spent all the money in the grant, so they didn't have the funds for it. And which surprised me because we had a signed contract for this amount, or not quite this amount, a little bit less, but basically for this project and so on. So then there was another email where Allison said, as they recalled, Swim was going to contribute $2,500 for the project, which I talked to Vi Paddock of Swim, and I said to her, I mean, I don't know how much you want to know about all this, but I said to her, you know, I thought at one point you had thought possibly Swim could contribute $2,500 for this project, but then that did not prove to be true. I mean, Vi kind of was thinking about it and she thought maybe they could, but then she thought further about it and said, no, Swim couldn't contribute, right? So then when I talked to Vi last week, and Nancy, I don't know if you've talked to her also, but again, I was just walking by Vi's house and there she was. So I talked to her and she said she thought Swim could contribute $2,000 to this project. she needed to run it by her board of directors and they would need to approve it, but she thought 2,000 would be possible at this point. So that's kind of where it stands. I talked to Vi about that last Thursday and I've been waiting, haven't heard back from Vi yet, but we had the Memorial Day weekend. So we have a signed contract with Parterre for this work. They have completed the work. And they sent us this invoice, which we haven't paid yet and need to figure out how we're going to pay it.
So the way
So-
I look at this is when, and Ellen, I'd appreciate your input. When you originally wrote the grant, it was for the whole big deal. And it was something like 30,000 to 80,000 or something that would have been the whole restoration thing. And like CPC does, they kind of split it up into phase 1 and phase 2. And so my idea was to whatever money we get from SWIM or not get, that we on July 1st ask for money to pay for whatever we owe them, because yeah, it was supposed to be in phase 1, but it didn't quite work out. And, in all truth, Zach has done the amount of work he did there is far, far in a way more costly if someone else did it, of all that land work he did. So we can't, he spent what he did and did a lot of stuff in-house. So if that seems right to me, the project just got divided arbitrarily into phase 1 and phase 2, but it's kind of all the same project. So I'm just asking you guys what you think about that as where we'd get the money.
I think
I
that's the only
agree.
place we can get it.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense.
Yep.
So we'll just try to work something out with Vi if it's possible, we will, and if it's not, then we'll, take it out of that pot. So,
Sounds right.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. That
When will
sounds
that
great.
be available though? I just don't know when they're expecting payment and the
Well,
timeline of that.
we'd have to sort of bargain a little bit with Parterre. I'm pretty sure they'll be okay with it. But July 1st is when the fiscal year starts and when the money is available to us for anything from CPC.
That should be fine, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay. Bailey's Hill, anything else on Bailey's Hill?
There's a lot of that Japanese knotweed coming in, and somewhere along the line, I saw something about they were hiring somebody to do some chemical treatment of it. Does anybody, I don't know where I
Yeah,
saw.
so that was part of the proposal that Parterre could do.
Okay, that's where I saw
Because-
it.
Yeah, because they have the expertise and our DPW does not. They have need licenses to do that stuff. So
Right.
that was going to be some of the work that if they go ahead with the contract, they would
Yeah.
do that.
Right,
Yeah.
they're licensed and certified to apply those
right.
chemicals.
And
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
And just, we talked to Zach about, he felt there was not a need to do that kind of stuff at Lodge Park, which was probably in the better shape to begin with, but also he's been working for 3 years or so to get that under control. So he's farther ahead with that work. So he wasn't interested in, when we talked to him about the Lodge Park grant, including that in it, but he definitely, I think, wants help with management of invasives beyond just mechanical.
Yeah, it's definitely necessary, I think, at Bailey's Hill right now, or Fort Ruckman area. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay, any more on Bailey's Hill, or should we move on?
It-
Moving on, committee organization. So there was that other excellent article at town meeting, which also passed, thanks to Paula for taking care of all that, to increase the size of this committee. So what are the steps again? It has to go before the Attorney General for approval.
Yes. Yeah, it has to be approved by the Attorney General, and then it relates back to the date of approval for town meeting. But I don't know when Dave would want to make any appointments or anything, because I think he probably wouldn't make any appointments until we knew it was approved.
Okay, and just how does it get submitted to the Attorney General? Who does
Town
that?
clerk, Diane Dumpy, the town clerk.
Okay. And so we think she's on top of that, and that doesn't
Yeah,
require.
because, and the same thing with the short-term rental bylaw, so she'll be on top of it.
Okay,
If, it still would be good if we thought we knew people that would be good, that would be interesting, or interested, or all, any of that stuff to think in our minds about that.
yes, and possibly invite them to a future meeting so they could get a little feel for what it's about.
I think that's a good idea.
So people will put their thinking caps on. Does anybody have any ideas they might want to say out loud at this point or not?
There's
No,
one
I approached somebody who said no, so
I
I'm already striking out.
thought of Ellen, and I don't know her, and I'm gonna say her last name wrong, and I was trying to remember it, but Ellen Greenberg, maybe? She's in the
Goldberg,
Goldberg. She's in the
Right.
green. I thought of her just because she's so active in the green communities. She might have an interest in,
right,
open
she's also become, a swim member, and she went
Oh.
before the Board of Selectmen presenting a composting
Right.
analysis. So
Yeah.
don't know how much, she works full-time and
Yeah.
runs marathons and all sorts of stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, she'd be fantastic, and I also would like to ask Rebecca, because we really want to lower the age of the people on this committee. The average, and just to get people involved in it, for carrying on in the future. So especially, I would love any thoughts you might have, as you and your friends like think about stuff, who might want to.
Yeah, I've definitely trying to like think through friends who are, closely related to this work. I have one person in mind, but let me run it by them first,
Yeah,
see what their true interest would be. But
it's really
Yeah,
hard,
I
as
agree.
you
There's,
know,
like-
it's children and a job, and
yeah, but I mean, you all have such an expertise and experience with all of this over the years that people need to start, stepping up and learning about it. So I'll
Right,
definitely
I mean,
keep
some
this
of
in
us
mind, so.
have worked in the field, in various aspects, but some of us are just, it's an interest. So you
Yeah.
don't have to be a professional to be on here.
Yeah, no,
And-
I'm definitely, it's in the back of my head, so
Thank you.
I'll run it by the summer plans as they come and think about who might be good.
It's nice to have a range of people, right? With a
Yeah.
range of backgrounds, and someone who just loves to get outside and walk and be in nature and loves living in Nahant because it's, so easy to get outside and it's so great. I mean, that could be a good way to start as well.
Yeah, that's part of it. So,
Yeah.
no, I'll definitely, I'll think about it a little bit and and pick a few people.
It would also be nice to have a male or males.
I thought that, but I didn't want to say it.
Well, you know, diversity in all any ways we can get it.
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely.
All right, so I think we have some time certainly, but it'd be good to think about it as you're out and about over the summer and run into people more, keep it in mind or run it by them. And again, invite people to attend a future meeting so they can get a little feel for what it might be like.
Mhm.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. New business, move on to that. One of my items on there was about meeting if we like Zoom, because we get to sit at home or Zoom in from wherever we might be, or if it might be time to meet in person. So what are your thoughts about that?
I like Zoom.
Yeah.
I like Zoom because I'm in my car right now because I didn't make it home
Oh.
from the airport. So,
Oh, be careful.
oh no, I'm not driving. I pulled
Oh,
over. in the
okay.
parking lot. Yeah. But yeah. Otherwise, I would have been driving. So, yeah. Anyway, I like Zoom, although I see the value of in person now and then. So, yeah.
So, you know, we've been able to do a lot of business, you know, with this format because there hasn't been visuals that we had to look at. And even when there was, we could do screen sharing and stuff. So, you know, I like the sort of flexibility of it. And if we always could meet in person, if there was some reason why we had to.
Mhm.
So
I like
hybrid.
having both options. I think that too, if you want to get more people onto the committee and, you know, people who maybe have other things going on, to have the option for Zoom.
Yeah.
Is a benefit for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I keep
And I-
muting myself because of toddlers in the background, but I do like Zoom.
Well, I also think with the more people, you know, our goal was to have some subcommittees who could work, you know, at their own discretion in person or by Zoom or whatever. But then, you know, that kind of tactile stuff that you were talking about, Nancy, could be done on a smaller scale and then brought by Zoom to the larger group. So,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
Okay. I was gonna propose a date for our next meeting. Maybe the end of June, but maybe the thing actually is to try to see about Zach and Tony and what they want to do and what their availability might be and work around them. Does that make more sense?
Yep, makes sense to me.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is there other new business?
Oh, I already went through what Tony said to me about Flash Road, so that was it for me.
Yeah, I'll move that to this section in the minutes. Is that okay? Just sort of,
Yep, that's fine.
okay, all right. Do you know anything, Paula, about the rights of way proposal that was made by the town and how that will be implemented? Is that like the planning board that will do that, or what? How does that work? Do you
I
know?
thought it was the planning board, but I was going to get up and say something, but I decided not to. About, because I want to understand sort of where they are with things. But maybe that's something we can just bring up with Tony.
Yeah, I mean, it is, you know, somewhat something we
Right.
think about and talk about. And I, you know, I would also like to know what there are other issues that you brought up, I think, at previous meetings that are clearly recognized, but what's going to happen about them?
Right, exactly. I don't
And
know.
that we were told like they're on the back burner or something like that. So,
I personally feel the rights of way need their own committee because all the other committees, including us, are involved with a lot of different things. And I think it's such a focused issue that I feel like it needs its own committee, but that's just my 2 cents.
no, I agree. I'm not particularly interested in getting involved in it. I would just like to know that it's being worked on. And
Right.
we
Yeah.
already have a backload of issues that are not being worked on, and now we're going to find out more. So like, how's that going to get enforced?
Yeah, totally. Would be good to have more information for sure.
Well, you want me to reach out? I can reach out to the planning board if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, I'll do that.
Does that also have to go to the AG, or is that something that just can happen?
No, it's bylaw changes that have to go to the AG. It's just related to bylaws.
Okay, thanks.
Zoning bylaws, regular bylaws. And I think there's a zoning board of appeals bylaw change that will go to them too. Because I think they're getting more people on the zoning board of appeals. And that's a bylaw change.
We didn't vote on that though, right?
I thought we voted on it at town meeting.
Okay, then I guess I just wasn't paying attention.
It was on the warrant, unless they withdrew it. I don't really remember.
I don't remember either.
But certainly they anticipate more work with the short-term rental possibilities. Things would be brought to them a lot more. So I know they're thinking about that.
Yeah, and I think they have trouble with quorums if people, because you're not supposed to vote if you're on the zoning board of appeals and it's a neighbor, you're not supposed to vote on it. So,
Yeah,
so I think sometimes they have troubles with quorums because they don't have enough alternate members. So, but I don't know what happened at that town meeting now that you think of it. I can't remember. And I was there, so.
well, I happen to know someone who's on the ZBA, so I can ask.
Is Mike on it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Didn't either. I didn't get that that
Is there any other new business that anyone can think of?
Not for me.
Oh, well, actually, this is an old business that appeared in the notes, but just to update you, I have reached out to Austin to ask about the controlled burn thing, but haven't gotten a reply.
Can you, yeah. I think I missed that can you give me a little bit more information about what the goals and plan, like what that would look like from our perspective?
So Paul asked a question, we know that at least have any of you been to the top of the South Slope and been
Yeah.
surprised by how much stuff was taken away there? Oh my gosh, I was like shocked. But anyway, that's part of their, removing the invasives up there. And then Paula had asked, what about that steep slope, which is sort of west facing, which is where the kids sled down by kind of behind the gazebo, and whether that might be an area that technique of eliminating vegetation might be used, because historically I'm not sure where. I thought it was more on the Tri-Mountain side, but in the past they had used burning. That's what we're kind of talking about, Ellen.
I wasn't sure what area you were talking about. Yeah, I just only because I was recently up there on the Fort Ruckman side, higher up than the work that we've already done. And there's so much dead wood down. I just don't know. I don't know enough about growth rates and how stuff can grow through all that dead wood that's down. It's shocking how much dead wood there is down there. I don't know if anybody else had that same takeaway, having been up, have you been up there recently?
Can you tell me where it is?
Just as you're going up the Heritage Trail to the top of Fort
Okay.
Rutledge, just all along there's just so much dead wood just down and waiting to come down. And I feel like there's almost no breathing room for plants to start growing. It's
Mhm.
just not quite sure how that works. And I know it's, you know, the best practice has been to leave dead wood as it falls, but I just don't know when there's a tipping point where there's so much dead wood that it doesn't really allow for new positive growth. I'm just
Yeah.
not sure.
So I learned something from Zach, which was that there's some money from the town or something to work on the Tri-Mountain Road side.
Mhm.
And that they were, you know, because that's not part of any grants that we had talked about, but that he had found money and it maybe has to do with some of the fencing, which is a mess over there, and
Right.
taking away some of that really overgrown stuff. So
Yeah.
do you know anything about that?
I do know they're going to replace that fence.
Mhm.
It's a bad looking chain link with Bob Dwyer at the top. And that was my Boston accent there, I know, but but so that's going to be nice. I think they're replacing it with something more, you know, decorative looking or something, maybe a wrought iron look or something. And other than that, I think they're going to remove some of the vegetation along there that's kind of grown into the fencing and things.
Yeah,
That's all I know about that. Yeah. So,
so that's certainly a mess over there too,
right.
in
Yeah.
terms of falling down stuff that hasn't been addressed for a long time.
Mhm.
Well, maybe we can, when we have our meeting, we can also ask about plans for the rest of Bailey's Hill, but when I hear from Austin, I'll let you know.
So
Great.
speaking of Austin, I was out walking over Memorial Day weekend and there was Austin. He was all getting out of his truck and walking down the road. And so we passed each other. So I took advantage of the opportunity, seeing as there he was, to ask him about burning at Bailey's Hill.
Oh,
And
great.
yeah, and he said he had gotten a message from you, Nancy, but hadn't replied but would reply. And that he has, of course, heard about that there were burns conducted there in the past, quite a while ago, and that he would talk with the tree warden about it and get the tree warden's thoughts.
Great, thanks.
He's planted the seed there a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you. No, he's
Yeah.
very responsive and I knew he would
Yeah.
get back and be thoughtful about his reply.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
Okay. Any other business, new or old?
Oh, well, one of the things also from the last minutes was we were going to try to look for grants or ways that we could get money outside of CPC, and then we also wanted to coordinate that with, you know, with Tony and Zach. So that's a topic that we need to talk about. But if any options come up about workshops or information sessions or stuff from, you know, the people that we worked with to get our plan done, we should try to do that, and we should share that information with each other so we could learn more.
Yep.
I don't know of anything at present or have any ideas.
Mhm.
I haven't heard anything, and I know we're just about to enter a new fiscal year, so there may be more opportunities after July 1st.
Okay. Keep our eyes and ears open and see what we can find and share that information.
Sounds good.
Are we ready to adjourn? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Ellen.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you,
Now we'll see if my
everybody.
camera ever works again.
Thank you for phoning in, Alan.
You're welcome.
Bye, everyone.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.